were telling us about maybe if you would produce a guy like Ivan, would you be interested in producing other bands at one point?
Well, I've been only loosely involved with it a couple of times. I spend quite a lot of time in the studio anyway, producing our records. And I don't think I would like to spend more time in the studio than I already spend, you know, with anybody else. It's okay being in the studio, but it's kind of nicer in the fresh air, you know.
But you think with the knowledge you've acquired over the years and all the experience, wouldn't you like to share that with someone?
It would be fun to do it, you know, for a song or two songs, but to sit through a whole album, which will probably take 3 months to make, you know, maybe a month or 2 months of pre-production work, that's a long commitment to make with somebody else. And if after 3 weeks you decide you hate them and you hate their music and you didn't want their money anyway, you know, it's too late to change if you've made a commitment. So I'd rather not really be in that situation. But it'd be nice to work with somebody on a song. You know, it's nice if someone asks you to come and play on their record, but it's only ever happened to me, I think, 3 times in my life, and 2 out of the 3 were Canadian bands. So that's strange, isn't it?
That is strange. So many lineup changes over the years. Ian Anderson is still the key, the focal point of Jethro Tull. Do you still believe that? Do you still enjoy being the focal point?
Well, I'm the guy who stands nearest the front of the stage in the middle, but it's always been a band. I mean, it's very much a band on stage and in the studio too. I mean, the other guys in the group have a lot of involvement in making the records, more in the cases of some records than in others, but records like Thick as a Brick or Passion Play were really very much band records. They were all very involved in the arrangements. So it is a band, and you know, it's easy for the press or whoever to think of some single identity. It makes their life easy, so that tends to be me. But it's more of a band than I think people give it credit for.
And you have a new passion.
I just make the tea, you know, that's my job.
Do you still have that passion with what we call in French la pisciculture, with fish?
Well, there's not really a passion. I mean, I've been involved for exactly half of my professional musical life. I've been engaged in aquaculture, particularly with salmon.
Is it a business or is it more of a hobby-oriented thing?
Well, it's certainly not a hobby. I mean, I have 150 employees and 7 salmon farms and 2 processing factories. So it wouldn't really be fair to those people who work there if it was just a hobby. You know, I mean, it's very serious. It is a business. I don't make a lot of money at it, but you know, it's a nice thing to be doing because where it happens, which is the Highlands and the west coast of Scotland, is an area of little employment. I mean, Kisley School, they have very little they can find to do in the way of work, so they have to leave and go south of the city and maybe never come home again. So it's nice to be part of a low-key industry in an area where you're giving people a chance to find not just a job, but a career, something long-term.
The possibility to maybe develop up to a certain extent.
To stay there, to bring their children up there, to keep the schools open, the shops open. It's keeping that community viable long-term. So to me, it's an important thing. It's
maybe it's your contribution to the people you've grown up with over the years.
Well, in a sense. I mean, I'm from Scotland originally, not from that part of Scotland, but I decided a long time ago I would like to be doing something in Scotland that was to do with something, putting some money back into that kind of part of the world and that way of life.
Ian Anderson, projects. What's going to happen in the future for Jethro Tull? After this tour, you're going to probably pursue some more.
Yeah, well, this tour goes on up till Christmas. I mean, we started in the middle of September in Scotland and through Britain, Switzerland, Germany, Italy, over here till Christmas. Off then for a couple of seasons. But two of the members of Jethro Tull also play in the famous folk rock group Fairport Convention, okay, who are still very active all over the world. So they traditionally, January, February are their months for touring in the UK. So Jethro Tull will be playing January, February, so I will be in Scotland doing fishy things. And then we'll be on tour again probably end of April, May, beginning of June. We're doing secondary tour in Europe and a provincial tour of Britain, because the place we've played least in 20 years is actually Great Britain. We've actually done fewer concerts there than we have anywhere else. So we're actually going to go and play some of the small towns in Britain that we've never been to for literally 20 years.
So the better part of 1990 touring, then maybe
well, not the better
back
part,
in the studio?
But it'll be a couple of months on the road before the summer, and then in September we'll probably start work in the studio again on another album, and which takes us through to a March '91 release, and we'll be out on the road again, in the sort of late spring, early summer of '91. So you kind of, it's a, yes, I know what I'm doing for a long time. It sort of is, yes, and that's nice in some ways. Not nice in other ways, because you say projects. Well, the answer is there isn't really any room for projects, because if I'm not doing music, I'm doing the other thing, and lots of things that would be really interesting for me to do, but I just don't see there being time in the next few years.
Thank you very much for coming back to Musique in Montreal. Now we're going to finish today with a video clip called Steel Monkey. Maybe a message before you go.
I was only going to say that I can remember the good old days when we were the 35-minute opening act for Led Zeppelin. We went on stage every night and the hall was full. It would be really nice if people would once in a while do that for our support groups these days. So please, if you can come early, I think it's an 8 o'clock show. It's an 8 o'clock show. Please be there at 8 o'clock and see our support group It Bites, because they really are very good. Thank you. That was the message.
Thank you very much. On se laisse avec Steel Monkey, Jethro Tull, la Musique Plus. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.